team, bad.
Alright, hello folks. We are back for the AD2L Season 10 matchup. This is Game 2 between Zombie and Lich versus Team Linkens. Team Linkens walked away with a very strong push strat and took about a 40-minute win in Game 1. I am Darmin, coming to you live on twitch.tv/DarminCast, twitter.com/DarminCast. Please stop by, check me out, chat to me during the game. I try to address Twitch chat throughout the cast and keep it a family-friendly environment. A no-salt Dota chat lovey-dovey haven.
10 seconds remaining.
I should have seen that one coming.
In fact, I'm being asked right now if I read chat while I cast, and of course I do. I'm reading your chat message right now and responding to it with the word yep.
Dire team pick.
I am rocking a gold robe right now.
Ten seconds remaining.
This is Jake from State Farm.
5 seconds remaining.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm? A gold Star Wars Jedi
Right into
robe?
reserve time now.
Hmm? That's what Jake's wearing tonight. As I was brought into this game very last minute, so didn't have time to set up all my proper overlays and hotkeys and everything, so. But that's okay. We're here. We're playing Dota. We're casting Dota. And what else can you do on a Friday night? That's all there is, right?
Dire team.
Dota for life. And speaking of Dota for life, as we take a look here at the first bans and first picks, you see some familiar faces. You have Team Linkens banning out the Chen. You have Zombie and Lich banning out the Baden and Dazzle. And
Radiant team pick.
one change up so far is Team Linkens opting to ban out the Oracle. So changing things up a little bit here, but sticking with the same picks thus far, as they pick the Juggernaut as their first overall pick. Zombie and Lich opting to go with the Witch Doctor and Sven for their first two picks.
5 seconds remaining.
Invoker.
Radiant team, bad.
So how my delay works in terms of chat is I can read chat in real time. So there's a 4-minute delay from my video to Twitch, and I do that in order to protect the game from any screen sniping, stuff like that. The rules are a 2-minute delay. That's what Dota TV is set to. So in reality, it's if someone does want to snipe on the other team, they're going to be able to do it in easier ways than through my Twitch channel, which is what I intend. So if you want to cheat, look elsewhere, but if you just want to tune into the game and enjoy the commentary, that's what twitch.tv/DarminCast is all about. So there's a 4-minute delay on the video. Once it hits you guys,
Radiant team, bad.
there's sometimes some Twitch chatter that arises. I read that 4 minutes after I've seen it, and if I comment on it in real time over the audio and video like I'm doing now, you guys get my response in another 4 minutes. So it's a weird 8-minute conversation cycle where I'll see something, I'll comment on it, it'll get to you 4 minutes later, you'll see it, you'll respond to it and go, whoa, that was crazy. and then I see your whoa, that was crazy. 4 minutes from when the actual events occurred, so I have to think back to what happened in the game 4 minutes ago to piece together what's being said in Twitch chat with what I'm reading. Then I'll respond to you in real time, and that gets another 4-minute delay. So if I answer your question with the number 42, for those of you with the inside knowledge, the inside scoop, you get that 42 4 minutes after that, and it becomes a cycle. Getting popcorn for game 2, huh? That actually sounds delicious, and I think I have some kettle corn
10 seconds
sitting in my
remaining.
cupboard somewhere. So after game 2, I'll probably
5
dig
seconds
into some
remaining.
popcorn myself. Probably shouldn't do it during game 2, because as
Reserve time.
soothing and granular as my voice is, I'm sure you don't want it disrupted by the scratching popcorn sounds.
Puck.
Radiant team pick.
As we look at the next picks here, we have Team Linkens picking up the Invoker, who was banned out in the second ban phase, so acknowledging that he would probably get banned once again, they opt to pick him up in the first round instead of letting him get through that second phase. And that's followed up by a few respect bans here, as the Faceless Void gets eliminated, the Omni Knight gets eliminated. So some of the
10 seconds
key
remaining.
players from game 1 are taken out of the lineup here,
5 seconds remaining.
and Puck and
Reserve
Shadow Demon
time.
make it into the lineup. Puck, one of my absolute favorite heroes. Been playing him forever. I'm hearing that there's some dislike for the Chen ban, saying that almost no one picks it in low MMR games. And while that is true, we saw in game 1 there that at least Team Linkens is fond of going with an early push lineup. So it does help to curb that. If you get... Oh, I was playing a game a while ago with an Enigma
10
Enchantress.
seconds remaining.
I was Zeus. We had a Lycan,
5 seconds remaining.
and I forget who our 5th was.
Radiant team pick.
But
Admiral Conker.
Necrophos, I think? It was an all-random game. And the opposing team was just 5 hardcore strength carries. It was like Life Stealer, Wraith King, Anti-Mage, just
10
the
seconds
ultimate
remaining.
end game. I think Sven, all of these really scary late game guys, so we knew we had to end early. And at about the 8-minute mark, we just grouped up and pushed every tower we could as fast as we could, and we never retreated. So when you get those junglers like Chen, Enchantress, Enigma, who can emerge and push very early, it does cater very well to the strat that Team Linkens implemented in game 1 to their
10
success.
seconds remaining.
So, not the worst ban. And if it's something you don't want to play against, it's something you don't want to play against. And the easiest way to prevent opposing teams from using a strategy you're not comfortable fighting into, hit them with the early ban. Next couple pickups here are Elder Titan for Aberzombie and Lich, AZ+L, and Kunkka for Team Linkens.
Giant
I
team
like
pick.
the mid potential that Team Linkens has here. They can rotate a number of heroes into the middle lane and into the off lane, so you can have Invoker or Kunkka hanging out in the mid lane, and Beastmaster or Invoker in the middle. We'll see what they opt to go for here. as we head into Game 2 between Team Linkens and AZ+L.
Prepare for battle.
Ostentatiously doing a little dance there as he picks up the courier and a few other items, and going through introductions first on the side of Team Linkens. You have Kunkka rocking the puffy coat. Oh yeah, MYJY going through introductions. I shouldn't just say the hero's name. You guys all know this is Kunkka, but Kunkka being played by MYJY. How about that? Playing the samurai Juggernaut is going to be Juggernaut. Ugh. All right, shake it off. Let's try this again. Let's go through all the introductions again. Let's actually not. As the Hawk is in position, and so they see the AZ+L lineup here, and they have 5 on the high ground. So a pause coming out at a critical moment here at the 10-second mark, right before the runes are going to spawn. One of my absolute favorite heroes. Been playing him forever. I'm hearing that there's some and Morphine is not with him as he's in the off lane here, and there's 5 heroes heading into the bot rune location. And everything being tossed straight at Puck. It's going to connect, but he's able to orb and jaunt away as Sven throws out a stun, trying to buy him some time and protection. So he's going to be pretty damaged here entering the first minute of the game, but he is going to be able to secure the bot rune for himself to kind of make up for his traumatic injuries. He also picks up another tango coming out from the generous offlaner. And he eats that, and with his bounty rune picks up a healing self to fly out to him. So now that we have a moment that's free of puppy pauses, let's go through introductions. Up in the top lane on the side of Team Linkens, we have Syntax playing the Juggernaut. We have Thorg playing the Shadow Demon. And you have a support Kunkka being played by MYJY. They pull the creep wave into the newly created neutral camp spawn on the side there. Now it's Thorg being caught out of position. He's going to be spotted out by the Witch Doctor. He tries to and is successfully able to eat his way through the side there, cleverly juking the Witch Doctor and the Sven. And now it's Sven who's in danger as he jumps forward. He's able to get away for now, but he eats a Sunstrike coming out from the Invoker in the mid lane, as well as the Wombo combo from Shadow Demon in the form of Disruption and Torrent. Let's throw on those overlays. There we go. So, First Blood remains unspilled for now, as they've been able to land several Shadow Demon Kunkka combinations, but nothing successful quite yet. Until now, where Syntax is getting into position and he's whirling and twirling with that Blade Fury, is able to secure the first kill against Sven and then follow it up with a kill against the Witch Doctor. That killing blow falling into the hands of Shadow Demon, though. Continuing introductions on the side of Team Linkens here. We have Pixie, who's trying to go toe-to-toe with Puck. He eats the final right click as he heads into the low ground, having a bunch of nuke damage coming out from Puck in the form of that illusionary orb, which is currently level 2. So he tried to walk forward, and Puck met him face to face. He ain't afeared of no Invoker. In the bot lane, You have Dabbles playing the Beastmaster and MYJY, who's rotated from the top lane into the bottom lane, once again playing the Kunkka. I was gonna say, it feels like there's too many heroes there, but he's rotated from top to bot, and you can see the Shadow Demon has joined him. So making a rotation here as Sven tries to rotate away from the aggressive tri-lane pressure. They make rotations of their own and say, you're not getting away from us that easy. So Beastmaster heads into the top lane, Syntax heads into the bottom lane, and now it's 3 versus 3 in this bottom lane. Witch Doctor rotating over, it's going to spot out the Hawk, and in the middle, as Puck and Invoker go toe-to-toe, they wind up killing one another off. It's Invoker walking away slightly in the lead there as he's able to secure the experience for himself. So Team Linkens focusing on locking down this Sven as much as possible, but it may come back to bite them here as Syntax eats a lot of damage in the form of Maledict coming out from Witch Doctor on the back of that paralyzing cask. So he does eventually fall, as does Elder Titan, but Sven stepping forward, throwing out the stun, is going to pick up the second kill for the team in the bottom lane here, and it's a 2-for-1 trade, dropping Syntax and the Shadow Demon in exchange for what was originally your offlaner Elder Titan. Definitely favoring AZ+L and helping Sven to recover here just a little bit. Meanwhile, in the mid lane here, you have Puck continuing to dive, and the right click what must have been mid-air there as he dove behind the tower, and once again it's Invoker and Puck trading their lives to one another as Shadow Demon was rotating in to finish off the Puck if it was necessary, but the Invoker, staying alive just a little bit longer, was able to once again benefit from that experience. Sven chugging these clarity potions as much as possible. Paralyzing Cask is thrown, as is the Maledict, followed up by the Sven stun, and one more right click should be enough. Those ticks should eventually drop the Kunkka here.
Cask, meet
nope, just level 1 Maledict, so he's going to escape with 2 HP. So a little bit of a miscalculation there is going to cost the Witch Doctor his life as Syntax rotated in. And my calculations were wrong as well, letting MYJY escape with just the hair on his chinny chin chin. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, King Crusher, picking up an invisibility rune, has made a rotation away from the mid lane, looking to kill this Beastmaster here, but his spider sense is tingling. He's sending the boar down into the river. He thinks a gank might be up. I'm sure Invoker called missing, but they didn't have vision of that top rune, so they couldn't have known what it is. And Puck makes his way into the middle lane here. He's level 6, but he doesn't commit the Dream Coil just yet. Invoker had Cold Snap ready. Sunstrike's on cooldown. Presumably used down here in this bottom lane onto the Sven, who's sitting on low HP. He throws a stun towards the Juggernaut, trying to get that last second damage off, and both of the hard carries are going to have to retreat for now. Witch Doctor eating a fair amount of damage with the creep wave here. And the violence continues here in the mid lane as Puck and Invoker go toe-to-toe. Invoker's able to Ghost Walk his way to safety, pop a healing salve, and he'll be fine as Dabbles rotates from the top lane into the middle to throw some wild axes into the face of Puck before rotating back into position top. Meanwhile, Sven's been able to make the long hike back home and teleport back to the bottom lane, where he's continuing to fight up against this Juggernaut to see if he can get some farm here. And Witch Doctor being the focus of the support duo MYJY and Zorg, and as he eats a ton of damage. Sven tries to go in to help him, but the spin from Juggernaut and the nuke damage from that torrent is just too much. And it's actually Invoker who gets the killing blow there, as that combination is almost always supplemented with a Sunstrike coming out from the Invoker. So either it's excellent communication coming out from the Team Linkens lineup, or just excellent awareness from Pixie as he's landing that Sunstrike continuously. Meanwhile, Puck trying to assist his team by making rotations into both the top and bottom lane to make something happen here. And while everyone rotates away from this top lane, Dabbles uses that space to just aggressively push into the tower. AZ+L with all 5 heroes here in the bot lane, and I don't think I've introduced the AZ+L lineup here. So after they take this bottom tier 1 tower, assuming that's what they go for, we'll get into dire introductions. The Torrent Sunstrike slightly off the mark, but it doesn't matter. Elder Titan still gets eliminated from the game. AZ+L jumping forward, not blinking forward, just kind of walking forward, lands a black hole for about a half second before deciding it's not the best position for that, so he ultimately backs off along with the Sven, and that's going to be it for now as Puck headed to the top lane, and the other 2 heroes but were dropped within tower range there. You saw Elder Titan get dropped immediately and Witch Doctor shortly thereafter. So Steel Dota asking who won game 1. It was Team Linkens who won game 1. Yeah, I see they didn't update the game 2 lobby with the game of markers, but it's Team Linkens, the Radiant team, so this team over here, who secured game 1. I'm currently working on my overlays. I recognize that it doesn't show the team names with the big black bars that I have covering it up right here. Puck jouncing forward, possibly looking for a kill there with Sven right behind him, but decides against it. Instead, he gets X'd by MYJY, who lines up the torrent. It is going to land, as is the boat shortly thereafter, and the Sunstrike in position, on target, secures the kill. He gets a double kill as Pixie walks forward, casually kills the Sven as well, and then just nonchalantly, hey, you know what, I want even more gold, and eats the nearest creep with Hand of Midas. So right now, this is starting to look pretty dire for AZ+L as their hard carry Sven is just getting completely locked down everywhere he goes. You can see the combination coming out from Kunkka and Shadow Demon being used to great effect so far as Elder Titan walks forward, arguably a little bit aggressive and out of position, jumps into 3 and 4 heroes and gets just melted. Witch Doctor tried to save him with the cask there, but with that many targets for the cask to bounce to, it's no easy task. Hawk trying to get in position to provide some visual intel is going to be dropped by Enigma and Sven, and with that, the Team Linkens lineup back off. They do smoke. I'm not sure if that smoke was intended just to provide them that bonus move speed, that 15% increased move speed to get away safely, or if it was meant to help them get into position, but it looks like they are regrouping and heading back in. So you have the Shadow Demon, you have Kunkka, and you have Pixie who's sitting inside of a Ghost Walk. It's the Witch Doctor who gets X'd, he gets torrented, he gets Sunstruck, and he gets deleted from the map. That combo just very devastating to low HP heroes at the beginning of things, and you can see they're landing it very well every time. It's MYJY playing a great game with those torrents. Those can be difficult to miss if you're just half a second off. You need to get the X timing down pat. You need to get the timing of the disruption from Shadow Demon down well, and he's been able to land that stun pretty much every time he's cast it, so not a lot of wasted mana here.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And he is going to X Torrent Sunstrike once again. This time it's the boat that's slightly off the mark. The boat had been cast just a split second faster. I think that would have gotten them a kill. Enigma would have been just a couple last hits away, and he would have been stunned long enough for the Invoker to walk forward there and just throw out some right clicks.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Morphine trying to buy some time for his allies to get in position there as he throws out his stomp and follows it up with an earth split. So now the Enigma and Puck are going to be in position ready to help defend this middle tower. But in response he did eat yet another torrent combination coming out from the Kunkka. So right now the fight is over this middle tower. Team Linkens throwing out the X boat torrent combination. The boat connects that time, but it's MYJY and Dabbles being caught out by an excellent cast from Ostentatiously, who are in the danger zone, if you will. Enigma ultimately falls, but so does the Beastmaster, and now Sven stepping forward to make use of this Puck's Dream Coil. Is going to right click down the Shadow Demon and almost Pixie, but he gets away. Sven buying back, teleporting into this mid lane. Morphine being very aggressive here, jumping forward. He gets X'd back, and I think these Forge Spirits are going to finish off the kill, and they sure do. So that was a 5-for-2 trade. The chart's only going to show that final kill there, but you had an entire team wipe from AZ+L, including a buyback from Sven, so his economy was already stressed from the pressure that Team Linkens was putting on him from before. It's going to be further hampered by the cost of buyback and the brief period where he doesn't accrue gold for his last hits. And most importantly, when you get those early buybacks, you need to make something happen with them. Even with the late buybacks, I mean, you typically want to make something happen. Usually it's in the form of a successful defense against a tower. It's more about stopping the bleeding than it is yielding an advantage. But the earlier you are in the game, the more you want to make use of a buyback by securing a kill. And he just wasn't able to find it there. So Team Linken's losing the Beastmaster and the Shadow Demon, but they're just regrouping and heading back into the mid lane. They get the X, the Torrent off. Sunstrike's not in position this time. The Echo Stomp was cast out in case there was any melee aggression, but wasn't there. Now Team Linken's kind of wrapping around, hanging out on the side. Throwing axes, cutting down the trees. The Echo Stomp landing on the Beastmaster there, but no damage behind it to follow it up. The big Earth Split coming down the middle. Team Linkens parts the Red Sea. Nobody takes any damage there, and now I think it's going to be Morphling almost caught out by the Torrent boat. It's slightly off the mark, but Team Linkens get what they came for, which is that tier 1 tower. And we'll see if they look to continue the aggression here in the mid lane or rotate away. Because as they were doing that, it was Puck in the top lane, quietly pushing down the opposing team's top tier 1 tower. So a 1-for-1 tower trade. AZ+L giving up that tier 1 tower but not losing any heroes. They can't really afford to let this tier 2 tower go though. And so you have Sven coming in, you have Puck in position, you have the Echo Stomp coming out with regularity from the Elder Titan. Sven eating a little bit of harassment there from the Kunkka, but no commitment from Team Linkens as both teams just try to feel each other out right now. The blink has been picked up by Enigma, so he's ready to go with his second major black hole of the game. The first one only being channeled for about half a second before he called it quits. We'll see if they make something happen here with the second one. They do spot out the Invoker, who eats Maledict, he eats a Cask, he eats a Sven stun, and now some big right-click damage. Is the Maledict on? The Maledict is on, so he's sitting at 40 HP. He uses himself up, but he's ultimately going to fall, but not without spitting back into the face of AZ+L and throwing out a meatball there. So the supports are starting to burn, and Enigma blinks forward, catches four heroes out there, and it's a big team fight going the way of AZ+L. They catch the Invoker, they catch the Juggernaut, they catch Kunkka, and they catch Shadow Demon. So massive swing, losing the tier 1 tower mid, picking up the tier 1 tower top, and then they run into Invoker in their secret shop and make him and the rest of his team pay for it. It's about 4k gold and 4k experience heading in their favor, and now they look to play the aggressive angle here, taking down the middle tier 1 tower for themselves. Morphine being very aggressive here, jumping forward, he gets X back, and I think these Force Spirits are going to finish off the kill. So that was a 5-for-2 trade. Yep, Sunstrike is doing some work this game, but unfortunately that Sunstrike wasn't going to help him as he walked uphill into the darkness of the AZ+L lineup. Taking a quick look at the net worth charts there, you could see Team Linkens was approaching the 10k net worth advantage, and real quickly with that team fight lost quite a bit of it, and now it's down to 2,500 at the 20-minute mark as both teams start to even out the scoreboard. In this second matchup between the two teams, Team Linkens, the Radiant side, had won Game 1 pretty decisively with their early push lineup. Game 2, they looked to play very aggressive very early once again, and looked to lock down the economy and farm from this Sven, who's since been able to buy some space and buy some time for himself, finishing off the power treads, the blink dagger, and now with some lifesteal he's going to be able to stay away from base a little bit longer and farm up these neutrals. Meanwhile, Team Linkens, not done with their push strategy, are drawn out on the map, and actually it's Witch Doctor drawing on the map. Hey guys, they're probably in our secret shop, so be careful over there. And you can see Enigma and Elder Titan keeping a pretty safe distance until Enigma gets a little bit antsy and walks forward. You can see him throwing the Midnight Pulse onto the low ground there, suspicious that they're doing Roshan, and he will be correct. So the rest of his team try to get in position. An Echo Stomp coming out, stunning all of the pets on the Team Linkens lineup, but it's Syntax still leading the charge against Roshan. Unaffected, he finishes him off, he picks up the Aegis, and the rotation's just not there fast enough from AZ+L to really contest that Roche. Now Sven, having been in position, tries to make use of his time by farming and gets caught out by MYJY and Dabbles, but the rest of his team's in position as well, so ostentatiously channeling that ultimate for a brief moment there before he gets disrupted by the Shadow Demon. And Enigma's Black Hole just finished off cooldown, so there's the Omni Slash coming out from the Juggernaut, but when he's done with that, he gets caught inside of the Black Hole. There's pinks coming out on the Shadow Demon, and ostentatiously walking downhill to finish him off, while Syntax kills the Enigma with the two supports, well, the support and a half, in the form of Witch Doctor and Puck, finishing off the first life of the Juggernaut. He responds with Aegis, and with Pixie getting in position there, the Puck Witch Doctor decide they've had enough, they back off, so it's a 3-for-3 trade. They also burned the Aegis. Unfortunately, Sven being one of the first to fall there, he's just constantly being pressured, and I missed how this tier 2 tower in the top lane fell. I think it must have been from the creeps, because all of the heroes were pretty busy there in the bottom lane. So both teams reset, head back into their jungle, try to make some or try to recover from those team fights a little bit. You can see that team fight slightly favoring Team Linkens to the tune of just 100 or so gold, or a couple hundred gold rather. I see there is a fleet of beat who is supposedly typing me a message. So shoutouts to Fleet of Beat. Overlays are not showing the gold robe. No, they are not. So game 2, much more focused on the team fighting than the strict tower pushing that was game 1. And right now I think a lot of this game is on AZ+L once again, for their hard carry to get in position and carry them to victory. They tend to favor a lot of this 4 protect 1 strategy where they have, you can see a bunch of stun and utility heroes complementing the hard carry Sven, who's going to once again be caught out here as Team Linkens rotate in. They commit pretty much every spell they have onto the Sven and just delete him from the map. So it didn't commit any boat or Omni Slash, but beyond that, everything they had, they just threw at him and quickly exploded the Sven. He was not going to last long there. Well, it's AZ+L in the bot lane trying to find a gank of their own in the Radiant jungle, but they're not there. They're too busy picking off your Sven. When in doubt, if you're AZ+L at this point, look at where your Sven is. That's where Team Linkens is going, because they have been targeting him this entire game, and it shows on the net worth charts. You can see him sitting at just 7k net worth versus the 2 primary cores from Team Linkens, who are sitting at 11,500 and 10k on the Invoker. So both 3k plus above the corresponding hard carry. Puck teleporting in, and he actually finishes the teleport, so he's going to eat a very big holy crap. Speaking of big, look at the black hole coming out from Enigma, catching pretty much the entire Team Linkens lineup. I had thought that Puck was just going to get completely eliminated from the game there, and he does ultimately fall, but it's a 1-for-5 trade as he's able to bait out some of the initiation spells from Team Linkens, and then phase shift and Yules himself to buy just enough time for the Enigma to show up, black hole the entire Team Linkens lineup, and then in his dying breath he gets a waning rift off while the rest of the team rotates into position and plays cleanup there. So Sven picking up 3 of those 5 kills. Puck, before he died, or actually after he died, was able to kill the Beastmaster. Somehow, I'm not sure the mechanics on that one. But after he died, he killed the Beastmaster, and Elder Titan getting a kill for himself as well. So gold all around, primarily focused on the Sven, who, as I mentioned, is in dire need of it. Big Echo Slam landing on 4 there is going to slow down Team Linkens' initiation, but Dabbles eventually does break in. He throws a shout onto Morphine, who is ultimately going to fall here as he gets X'd back into the waiting arms of a Juggernaut. He gets a second Echo Slam off, stunning 4 heroes once again, buying him time and buying the rest of his team time to make their escape. And by the time he falls, the entire AZ+L lineup, minus the Elder Titan, had made it across the river. So he does fall, but he fought valiantly while he was alive. Taking another look at the net worth charts here, and you can see on the back of that push, it's AZ+L who take the lead. And so far, these black holes coming out from Enigma are proving to be just completely devastating to Team Linkens. You had the first black hole over here in the Ancient Pit, catching, I think it was about 3 heroes, and kind of turning the tides of that fight, which was initially going to be just Sven dying, and then I think Witch Doctor and Elder Titan both fell, and they didn't have much answer for it. But no, it was eventually the Enigma who fell. So it was Puck and Witch Doctor who made it out over here at the Ancients. But regardless, Enigma catching 3 heroes with a black hole over here, turning the tides of this fight, and then in defense of this tier 2 tower in the top, landing a beautiful black hole, which essentially by itself team wiped the Team Linkens lineup. You had Sven there throwing out some follow-up damage, but the excellent control coming out from Enigma held everyone there and set up the wombo combo that AZ+L had been hoping for. Team Linkens needs to find a way around this right now. They're not.
Top tower is under attack.
Doesn't look like they're going for anything to disrupt it too much. They have quite a bit of built-in disruption for those channel mechanics. They have the torrent, they have the boat, both of which interrupt it. Invoker's gone and picked himself up a Yule, so he'll be able to Yule's up the Enigma if he sees him. He does get caught out by the AZ+L lineup here, and is he going to die? He eats the first 2 stuns, and the Maledict as well as the Ghost Ship coming in from the sidelines there as Kunkka tries to rotate in to save the Invoker. It's going to be a little bit late. Beastmaster teleporting right in front of the face of Elder Titan. He's going to be able to get out safely. So a bit of a slow reaction time from MYJY there on the Invoker, as he did break the smoke on the, I think, Beastmaster, who was leading the charge there, and wasn't quite quick enough on the trigger to jump over to Ghost Walk. So he ultimately falls, but he saved the lives of his Kunkka and Beastmaster brethren. Excuse me, he broke the smoke on Elder Titan. Mixing up all my heroes right now. Apologies for that. MYJY and Puck kind of dancing back and forth here in the Radiant jungle. Puck just buying time for the rest of his allies to show up. And the third black hole of the game is going to catch 2. It's going to catch MYJY and Thor, both of whom also eat a big Maledict. So they're ultimately going to fall here, while Morphine turns his sights onto the Beastmaster. He's able to do a bit of damage here, and Dabble's now on the run. So Puck finished off the Invoker. Juggernaut finished off the Enigma, and now he's finished off the Witch Doctor. Now it's Juggernaut versus Sven in the side camp here. That looked like a BKB. Yep, that was the first BKB charge coming out from Sven as he tried to chase down the Juggernaut. So a 4-for-2 trade, once again favoring AZ+L.
Don't waste your time.
And on the back of that team fight, they're taking yet another tier 2 tower. So that's all the outer towers dropped on the Radiant side of the map. Have some accidental double wards being placed over here in the jungle. It was identified by Enigma. Sorry about that. There was some Twitch chat saying maybe there was disruption in the cast, but nope. Looks like everything's still online and kicking. Speaking of kicking, Team Linkens trying to kickstart their game here, having successfully pushed and been aggressive in the early phases of the game, are going to use this brief pause and violence to smoke into the Roche pit, and with the Juggernaut healing ward behind them, they'll make short work of this. And AZ+L may know that it's going on here. Yep, they do spot it out, they ping it out. But it's too little too late. Roshan has already fallen, and they're once again nowhere in position to defend it. So, again, I apologize for the extremely late announcements as to who's playing who on AZ+L. But taking a look at things here, you have King Crusher 17, who's been playing puck. He's been jumping around. He's been acting almost as the front lines for the team here, setting up the initiation from some of his background damage dealers in the form of Ivan Gao, who's playing the Sven, the Morphine Elder Titan, who had been playing the off lane and is now trying to act as the team's tempo controller in the form of that Echo Stomp and Earth Split. Matt Cathan playing the Enigma, landing some excellent black holes against multiple heroes. His first black hole slightly off the mark, but everyone since then has been game-changing and bought the space and time the AZ+L lineup has needed. Speaking of black holes, there's a big one against 2, but he's immediately controlled this time, and it does fall. He gets meatball damage from the Invoker, as does the Witch Doctor. So this time, it's AZ+L on their heels as Team Linkens surges into the high ground on the back of disruptive performance against the Enigma, and with that black hole no longer being a threat, they're able to push into the high ground. Juggernaut eventually falls, but it's just the Aegis for now. Meanwhile, multiple buybacks coming out from the Dire lineup. Dream Coil being committed by the puck is going to lock the Juggernaut in position and help AZ+L with their buybacks, force some of these Team Linkens heroes out of their base. Witch Doctor may be in danger here as he eats a Tornado, EMP, Torrent, but Maledict's in position, so they're trying to right-click down MYJY, and that is going to be enough, but not before he gets a boat off. It does connect against the puck and the Enigma. So, Invoker looking to maybe get a kill off himself, and he's kind of winding his way through the AZ+L lineup here, and someone must have... There was the sentry ward there. I thought he died a little bit further up. Yeah. He died up here. How did they see him? Am I losing my mind? Is there a gem that I'm not aware of? I'm not quite sure how they were able to see him there, because I know this sentry ward range was not far enough to see the Invoker where he ultimately died. It must have been just puck landing the waning rift on him, knowing about where he was going to be, catching some of the movement and seeing those ghost steps. But excellent awareness from him and team. And now there's a call for a 1 to 2 minute pause coming out from the Team Linkens lineup here, as their hard carry is in need of some recovery. Not sure if it's internet related or family aggro or what the case may be. Team Linkens getting off to a good start once again here in Game 2 between Team Linkens and the AZ+L lineup, but what started as an aggressive pushing lineup for them once again has stalled out right around the 25-minute mark. Taking a look at the goal charts, you can kind of see where that first big team fight started at the 20-minute mark, and right around 18, 19 minutes. And then from there, there's just been a series of big team fights lost. See the first major one here, second one there, and I think this was the fight over at the Ancient Pit. This was the fight in the top tier 2 on the Dire side of the map, and then this was the 2-hero pick-off in the Radiant jungle. Since then, they've been able to recover a little bit, getting the game pretty much back to 0 after Team Linkens took a successful team fight in the bottom lane. They weren't able to capitalize on it to the tune of a full set of racks, but they did get multiple kills from the AZ+L lineup as well as multiple buybacks. So right now, that's about as much as they can hope for. Kind of stem the bleeding for a little bit. You can see their 3 primary cores. Oh, I shouldn't say cores. Kunkka's being played as a support here. Some manners coming out from both teams. Team Linkens needed the pause. AZ+L are more than willing to accommodate them. So thank yous being passed back and forth. And now while the teams recover, there's a brief break while Sven walks away to get some water. Unfortunately, in the lives of a caster, there's no walking away, ever. I'm forced to Bear Grylls it over here. So, I think I've gone through all of AZ+L introductions. If not, Morphine on the Elder Titan. I think it's Ivan Gao on the Sven. Not quite sure how to pronounce that one. My apologies. Matt Cthulhu on the Enigma, who, as I mentioned before, is having some amazing black holes, ostentatiously playing the Witch Doctor, King Crusher playing the Puck. There. Now I know for sure that I've introduced the entire AZ+L lineup. Apologies once again for the delay there. Especially since they are having an amazing game 2. In game 1, they nearly stalled out Team Linkens and were able to capitalize on their late game lineup. And they definitely seem to be favoring a kind of 4-protect-1 strategy once again. As I mentioned, you have Witch Doctor, who's a true support. Enigma, who's kind of that team fight positioning support. Just hoping to lock down multiple heroes with the black hole. I'm getting some feedback from Twitch chat saying the Invoker zoned this bottom lane when I was confused as to how the Invoker got spotted. Apparently, he did barely walk through the range. Now it's not going to show me. There it is. Walked through the range here before heading back up, and Puck was able to see him, so he was able to intercept him with an orb. So that's how he died. So just a brief glimpse of vision was all it took for Puck to lock on, find his target, and finish him off with an orb. So thank you, Twitch chat. So now that both teams are back in the game, they have their drinks, they've reconnected. We're approaching the 40-minute mark here, and with the game being dead even, it really is either team's game to win or lose at this point. AZ+L looking to engage in a big AoE team fight where they can land Black Hole, a Dream Coil, a Waning Rift, a big AoE Sven stun into an Echo Slam Earth Split combination, and just drop the house on them. And Team Linkens looking for kind of the pick-off wombo combo where they catch someone out with a Roar, Boat, Disruption combination. And for now, they're trying to spot the Enigma, throwing out the meatball, but it's slightly off the mark here. They're continuing to chase, but with smoke being blown, AZ+L know that they're on the hunt, so they group up and take defensive positions. Enigma blinking back to the safety of his lane as soon as he saw danger. So, excellent reaction time from him, and now together they're going to slowly roam through the Radiant Jungle, possibly running into the Invoker and Kunkka here. They do spot the Invoker, blink forward from Sven, followed by the stun, and they do land the initial damage there, and there's enough to bring down the Invoker. Now Sven, popping his BKB, is still on the chase, trying to find Kunkka, who had thrown out both the ghost ship there. Enigma blinking forward is able to catch just MYJY initially with his black hole, but Shadow Demon, deciding he wanted a taste of that black hole action too, turns around presumably to Yules or disrupt the Enigma to try to interrupt that black hole, and he's just not able to get the range that he needed to disrupt that. I think instead of yet another Yules, I understand that they're trying to disrupt the black hole potential from Enigma. Shadow Demon may have been better positioned to pick up an ether lens to extend the range of his disruption, because at that point he may have been able to outrange the black hole and disrupt the Enigma from afar versus the Yules, which has about the same range as his disruption. So with 3 heroes down and some successful ganks coming out from AZ+L, they push into the high ground. It's ultimately glyphed by Team Linkens, and so they retreat back into their jungle. They had rotated in hoping for a gank, and they do find that in the form of the Shadow Demon Kunkka Invoker combination. Sunstrike into the Roche pit as both teams are trying to keep an eye on this Roshan, which may be the deciding factor here for the next team fight. Or it may be where this next team fight occurs, as both teams are going to be keeping pretty close to it. Team Linkens grouping up and acting like they're going to head into the pit already. Both teams have a little bit of vision on one another, compliments of the Hawk from Beastmaster and some well-placed wards from the, I presume, Witch Doctor on the side of AZ+L. And Witch Doctor now starting that expensive uphill climb for his Aghanim Scepter. He's finished off 2/3 of it so far, so he's just waiting on that last piece. But before then, he picks himself up a smoke, and they're going to go on the hunt. They group up over in their secret shop, smoke up, and they're going to be heading into the Radiant jungle here. And this could be the game if Team Linkens is not careful. They once again find the Invoker. They Yules him up. They Echo Slam. Puck trying to get in position to Waning Rift. It'll be tossed out, but a little too late as Pixie Yules himself up. Now Dabbles has joined the fight. He shouts at the Enigma, stalling out any black hole potential and damaging the Morphine. While on the other side of the map, Syntax is fighting off the Sven and Witch Doctor. So fights on both sides of the map here. And so far it's a 1-for-1 trade as Invoker and Enigma both fall. Invoker buys back into the game. And it's AZ+L trying to make their escape now as Team Linkens has a buyback from Invoker, and they chase down the last remaining heroes from AZ+L. Enigma, not Enigma, excuse me, Puck Yules himself into the air to kind of break the Wombo combo from Kunkka, and he's going to be successful in doing so. A big X. I didn't see where he had gotten off to. He must have teleported away, teleported to the top lane, and ultimately got called back by the Kunkka X, marks the spot there. So they are able to finish off their 3rd kill, so it's a 3-for-2 trade, this time favoring Team Linkens. So AZ+L smoke up, head into the Radiant jungle looking for a fight. They find exactly what they were hoping to find, but unfortunately the fight was so spread out for them. The big AoE mechanics that AZ+L have at their disposal weren't really of any use. You couldn't channel the Witch Doctor ultimate, you couldn't throw out the Puck Drain Coil, you couldn't commit Black Hole. There was just never 3 or more heroes together. There was at best 1 or 2 heroes, all just kind of spread out. And so they took that prolonged fight, which favored Team Linkens, and you saw Juggernaut rotate in and pick off hero after hero as Kunkka and Beastmaster and Shadow Demon all just kind of bought time and stalled the fight out. But now that Roshan's respawned, we may see the next big fight of the game as Sven blinks forward, lands a big stun onto the Kunkka, or excuse me, onto the Invoker, and with Puck blinking in behind him, holding on to the gem of true sight. So now there is a gem in play. They're able to spot him even with the ghost walk. And then they pick up some of the stacks that he was hoping to farm up for himself. Sending him back into the base. Team Linkens is going to be forced to play pretty defensively. They're kind of curled up here inside their own tower. They do send some Juggernaut illusions towards the Roche pit, but they expire before they get there. It's pinged out by the Puck, who says, hey guys, they're sending something in. So be vigilant. And the Witch Doctor and Enigma have taken up their defensive posts on either side of the Roshan pit, ready to defend in case there is any aggression coming out from Team Linkens, but it's not going to be there. Nobody on the side of Team Linkens showing themselves on the map quite yet. And Dabbles eventually pops up in the top lane here, and he's going to try to make some value out of this Roshan time by pushing this lane into the top tier 3 tower, so he'll get some damage done to that. But this relatively slow Rosh is finally completed. He just sitting on the ground is picked up by Sven, who is starting to approach his 6th slot status, as he has his Blink Dagger, BKB, Helm of the Dominator, Heart, Boots, and now the Aegis. Last thing you really want from him at this point is to turn that Helm of the Dominator into a Satanic. Beyond that, he's going to have plenty of damage every time he pops that God Strength. And once that Aegis expires, he has the makings of a Daedalus waiting for him in his stash. Dabbles, meanwhile, spotting the Sven and Puck in this top lane, is going to just kind of hang out in the jungle for now. And if the AZ+L lineup continues to push, I suspect we'll see him blink out and try to cut the creep wave. He needs to be careful here that... actually, he doesn't need to be careful. He could probably jump out and kill this Witch Doctor right now. But not certain on where the entire enemy lineup is. All he sees right now is the Puck. He sees Elder Titan, so now he knows there's enough. So he blinks out. He's going to look to cut this next creep wave, but I think there's enough creeps in position that they're going to be able to drop this tier 3 tower inside of a God Strength. There's the God Strength, and they just crush down the creep wave, start being on the tower. It's fortified. Rotations coming out from Team Linkens lineup as they're going to try to take this fight and make this defense, but now that the fight is forced into this tight lineup situation, it's much more in favor of the AZ+L lineup, I feel. And the first initiation is thrown out as the Meatball and Ghost Ship are thrown towards the Sven and Witch Doctor. BKB is going to negate the Meatball, and Blink forward from Enigma catches 2 heroes out before he's eventually disrupted. Now it's Juggernaut making his way to the fight with a huge Omni Slash on the back of that. Battle Fury Cleave is going to kill 3 and greatly damage the Sven, who's eventually going to fall here. He still has the Aegis, so he throws out a last-second stun onto the Kunkka and eventually does get him killed. And Elder Titan hanging back just long enough to Echo Stomp and buy some time and space for Sven to get away successful. So excellent support, and once again Elder Titan landing a multi-hero Echo Stomp to buy space. The top melee racks did fall there, so an expensive melee racks in the form of losing multiple heroes and likely their tier 2 tower here as Team Linkens look to continue to push forward here. And it's the Juggernaut who's been able to continue to carry this Team Linkens lineup, having 5 of his 6 slots already completed. He needs to get rid of this Ring of Aquila and step it up to something a little bit more sexy, but beyond that, he's doing a significant amount of damage. And now it's the AZ+L team's turn to play defense as Team Linkens walks forward. MYJY eating a cask, and Maledict is temporarily saved by the Shadow Demon as he and Invoker look to turn the tides of this fight, dropping Meatball behind the EMP, and Morphine eating a ton of damage here. He's ultimately going to be Yulesed up, and he'll make it out safely as well. So both teams throwing blows at one another, but neither one landing the killing blow just yet, as this middle Rax continues to stand tall. And the AZL lineup is back at full strength. BKB's going, Black Hole's going to be off cooldown here in 20 seconds. So they're looking to just stall it out for as much time as they can until then. They make a go against the Sven, who's one of the tankiest heroes on the AZL lineup. So Puck blinking behind enemy lines, trying to land some silence and orbs. Big ghost ship coming out from Kunkka is going to land against 3, and now it's AZL trying to take this fight to the low ground for some reason, and they trade 2 for 1 as Beastmaster trades his life away for that of the Witch Doctor and the Elder Titan, but the middle barracks still stands, so call it a successful defense as the dire creeps push forward and do ultimately take that ranged Rax in the top lane. So AZL continuing to walk ahead just a little bit stronger after each of these team fights. You can see after that 0 net worth margin going into like the 40-minute mark, the 30-40 minute mark, it dropped dramatically with that first lane of Rax. And some kills trying to even the scoreboard for Team Linkens, but beyond that, it's AZL who have come out the victor time and time again. They took a costly fight in the top lane, but the net result was they got a barracks. They took a relatively expensive fight in the mid lane where they lost 2 heroes and committed 2 buybacks, but ultimately defended their middle lane. So it's AZL continuing to take team fight after team fight, and both of those fights where you're funneled through these tight corridors, once again, it favors the AZL lineup because they have just so many AoE abilities. They have the cleave from Sven, they have all of Puck's abilities minus his phase shift, they have the bouncing cask, the maledict, the channeled death ward, which now is going to have the benefits of the Aghanim's scepter behind it as well. Sven leading the front lines here once again is going to be a little late in popping his BKB. He's just kind of ignoring the team fight here, as in the background, Dabble jumps into the opposing team's territory and he eats the black hole from Enigma, while Pixie rotates into the bot lane as well, or excuse me, the low ground as well, and it's just Yules after Yules after Yules. I'm not sure how many Yules are in this game, but it has to be 4 or 5 at this point. Morphine temporarily stalling the fight out here with an Echo Slam, but Syntax was mid-Blade Fury, so he's unaffected, and he's going to eventually drop the Elder Titan, having already killed off the Sven and helped his team drop the Enigma as well. So again, another costly fight. It's 3 for 1 for AZL, losing a bunch of heroes, but they do take the ranged barracks and the middle tier 3 tower. In the top lane, these creeps continue to surge forward. They're starting to do chip damage to this tier 4 tower. They've taken out one of the effigies, and Team Linken's trying to push into the high ground here. Enigma buys back, but his black hole is going to be on cooldown for quite a while. Sven committing a buyback as well. Midnight Pulse is thrown out to try to stall him out, and Team Linken's realizing they're 1 hero short are going to back off temporarily here into the low ground and just let Syntax take the lead position here before Dabbles blinks behind enemy lines and stuns the Sven, who is going to be cloaked up, but it doesn't matter as Gem's still on the board. Witch Doctor committing his Death Ward is going to put out some damage, and a big Dream Coil landing against the 2 or 3 heroes there. I didn't quite see if it was all 3. Going to slow down the Team Linken's push until Syntax decides, I'm done with you, Puck. Omni slashes him straight to death, and the gem is on the board, but more importantly, the towers are exposed as the tier 3 tower ultimately falls here. Sven's still alive. Witch Doctor's still alive. Enigma's still alive. Black Hole's still on cooldown for 30 seconds, so it won't be in position. But
Its bottom tower is under attack.
a 1-for-1 trade there as Beastmaster and Puck sacrifice themselves to their respective offenses and defenses. And the bottom tier 3 tower has also fallen. Meanwhile, Pixie has been relegated back to wave clear detail in his base, as has Thorg, who's a little worse for wear there as the creeps continue to beat him up. And just to take a look across the board here, let's do a Yules count. It looks like we have 4 Yules on the board, 2 gems on the board. You have 5 blink daggers, and just 2 BKBs. So you do have the BKB up on Enigma as well as on the Sven. When you mouse over in here, it says everything's a 10-second duration, but I know that's not the case. The BKB on the Enigma's down to 7 seconds at this point, and on the Sven, I suspect it's down to 5, and it sure is. But speaking of the Sven, he has once again jumped into the Roche pit trying to take this 3rd Roche of the game. So this is going to be a cheese Roche, and Team Linkens know how valuable it is, so they blink in. They are going to catch Sven out here temporarily, but Syntax eating a ton of damage, eating a big Earth Split. He's going to be forced to turn around and refocus on the Enigma, who did have a Black Hole ready to go, but was just stunned for too long. Puck landing a 2-hero Dream Coil. Meanwhile, it's Roshan who's killing off the Beastmaster with one of his Thunderclaps, and 4 heroes down on the side of AZ+L, and it's only the Beastmaster who falls on the side of Team Linkens, and he ultimately buys back. So it was essentially a denied Beastmaster as he fell to Roshan. He immediately buys back and looks to... Nope, he's not going to join his team. He's just going to try to keep these creeps out of their bases. The Shadow Demon rotates to the creep lane in the mid so that they can get creep equilibrium up to the high ground here as Syntax tries to push forward into the Puck, into the Elder Titan, and fight through some of this backdoor protection. They're able to drop the ranged racks, and now they turn their focus to the melee racks, which with the backdoor protection is going to be difficult to drop down, especially with a Puck and an Elder Titan there to continuously harass you. Puck trying to dodge through the X and Torrent combination from MYJY is able to do so. But the creep wave eventually shows up, and it's the mid racks down, and now they're turning to the bottom lane as a ghost ship comes in and it's just trying to force this Elder Titan and Puck out of position. And Syntax playing objective Dota stays focused. He's got the boost of Alacrity coming out from Pixie to increase and ramp up that attack speed as he just carves through these towers, popping Mantle to get illusion damage and everything. He's committing everything he can to these towers. And with 2 barracks down now, 2 lanes of barracks down, I should say, the odds are slightly in favor of Team Linkens as the chart swings from the 10k mark in favor of the Dire lineup here, in favor of the Radiant to the tune of about 7,500. So both teams fighting it out to the bitter end. We're at the 60-minute mark here. Both teams at full strength, checking buyback status. You have a lot more on the side of Team Linkens than you do on the side of AZ+L at this point. Elder Titan the only one with it up currently. Witch Doctor has to farm up a bit, and the other heroes are all on timers. So this may be the final push if Team Linkens are able to get a hero pickoff or 2, especially if it's against... I think the Enigma would have to be your key target at this point. Then they're going to be able to just roll up these barracks. You can see him just shoving creeps in on the back of the Necronomicons, compliments of the Beastmaster. And he's sitting really far back in the back lanes there, ready to throw out a Primal Roar. And Team Linkens looking to just slow siege this, having the benefit of the bottom barracks pushing in, and a slight favorite in terms of the creep equilibrium in the middle lane there. So both lanes are going to be pushing forward there, and all they have to do in this top lane is just kind of wait it out at this point. Wait for AZ+L to make a mistake, wait for him to overextend. You saw in this middle defense where they walked into the low ground, and it cost them multiple heroes by taking the fight outside of their base onto the low ground, and losing the advantage of that funneling effect of the stairs. This time they're playing a bit more defensively and realizing they need to keep the fight in. I mean, not way out here obviously, but definitely on their staircase, but they can't let the creeps chip away at these barracks, and you can see Beastmaster just sending in boars, sending in Necronomicons, and keeping them focused on the job at hand. I missed the rotation here, but they tried to take the Team Linkens lineup by surprise by rotating behind them here, and Team Linkens dropping the Sven realized now is our time. We have the advantage. Dabbles with just next to no health, walks forward, takes out the Rax. Black Hole catching nobody in the back lanes from Enigma is going to be finished off by a shout from the Beastmaster, and he's going to fall. Sven buying back, jumping forward, desperate to try to protect this last lane of Rax and get a kill for himself, is going to be controlled and kited, and Torrent landing against both the Puck and the Sven. Final Rax is going to go down. That's 4 heroes down on the side of AZ+L. Call it 5, and that's a full team wipe. The entire Team Linkens lineup is alive, is in full health. Both buybacks have been committed from the Elder Titan and the Sven, and they're going to just push forward and take the throne at the 61-minute mark. Both teams calling GG, well played. Team Linkens take Game 2 as well as Game 1, so they're going to walk away 2-1 in this matchup between Team Linkens and AZ+L. But Game 2, incredibly close. I wish I could pull up that net worth chart once again, but you could see it just swinging back and forth throughout the match. They were at a 0 net worth favorite up to about the 40-minute mark, and AZ+L had their window. They were the first to take the top lane of Rex. They were the first to break Rex in the middle lane, but each of their pushes seemed to be a little bit more expensive. Both their pushes and their defenses seem to be a little bit more expensive than Team Linkens. When Team Linkens lost the lane, they would essentially lose a big team fight out in the field, and then their lanes would just get pushed up as an after effect of that. But when it came to defending their bases inside of their base, they didn't lose a ton. When it came time to push and siege against AZ+L, they were much more controlled in their aggression. So as soon as they felt the AZ+L lineup was back to full strength, or they had enough buybacks, or Enigma was enough of a threat with his black hole, they quickly backed off of the push and reset. So they didn't lose as many heroes in the push. AZ+L lost a minimum of 3 heroes per push, and Team Linkens losing just 1 or 2. So excellent game, well performed by both teams. You can see eventually Sven was able to find his farm, coming back to 530 gold per minute, being out farmed just by the Juggernaut, who was sitting on top of not only the most last hits in the game at 449, but the most kills in the game at 22 and 5. A lot of those being picked up in the big team fight encounters later on in the matches. He just Omni-Slash Battle Furied his way through the squishier lineup of AZ+L, cutting through Elder Titan, Enigma, Puck, and the Witch Doctor. Sven, not so much. He had some meat behind him with the lifesteal, the crit, the heart, all that. But beyond that, relatively squishy lineup for him. So, congratulations to both teams. Really well played, really well fought. Hard fought victories, hard fought losses. It was a pleasure to cast. I am Darmin, coming to you live on twitch.tv/DarminCast. This has been the Week 3 matchup between Team Linkens and AberZombie and Lich. Team Linkens walking away just barely with a 2-0 lead in this best of 2 series. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, if you like my particular brand of nonsense, please tell your friends, family, coworkers, random hobos on the street, whoever, old teachers from elementary school, whoever, about the stream. Get them out here, get them participating, get them chatting, and we will see you again in Week 4, I'm sure, for some continued AD2L coverage. Until then, good fun, have luck out there. Peace.